Hello everybody, welcome back to Its Current Year for a double cast today against Blaque, who is a High Elf enthusiast, an honorary member of XMT. We were chatting when we queued up on Quick Battle. Blaque loves him some Imric, I love me some Hellebrand, so we decided to have a bit of a meme throwdown, but there were actually two games. So this is the first of two games that we had earlier today on the Quick Battle ladder. So his list here, repping the Knights of Caledor, a couple of units of Illyrian Reavers and some regular Illyrian Reavers with spears, backing up 2 units with bows out on the flank here, 4 units of spears up front, and then 1 behind here, 1 unit of rangers in the middle pocket here, 2 units of archers, as well as some more Reavers and the Fireborn Dragon Prince ROR with their sweet burning lances. We also have a life mage down here with Earthblood and Regrowth, because up in the sky we have the Lord of Dragons himself, Blaque's man, Imric, and he has, looks like he's taken the Star Lance, also got the Dragon Horn and the Lord of Dragons, so coming in with some really nice stats, obviously massive weapon strength, breath weapon, the Dragon Horn, which is just a great item, and then some life magic for a backup. So Blaque's playing the Knights of Caledor, I am playing Hageneth, and my favourite legendary lord, Crone Queen. But for the infantry corps, up the front we have a couple of units of Dread Spears, as well as 2 units of Hageneth Executioners in the best colour scheme in the game. Part of the reason why I love this faction, and Hellebrand, the kind of why I love playing with Hellebrand. We also have the Sisters of Singing Doom. Now, the Sisters of Singing Doom are terror causers. Some people don't know that they do cause terror. They're immune to psychology, and they do have frenzy. So the frenzy changes recently were probably a buff for this unit because they have very, very high leadership. So they actually hold on to frenzy a lot longer, and just rank 9 stats. Really, really great stats. They blend infantry. They can be used to rampage models and keep them in unfavorable engagements. So a nice sort of centerpiece to your front line here. A couple of units of Scourge Runners, great for killing cavalry models, put in hits on dragons and things like that, or other single entities that the High Elves might take. A unit of Dark Riders here, as well as a unit of Dread Knights and a regular unit of Cobra Knights. And leading the force, we have a Death Mage on a horse. She has taken the Soul Blight, Spirit Leech, and I've also taken aspect of the Dread Knight. I wanted some magical damage. Figured I might see some Dragon Princes, so obviously causing fear and terror is nice, but magic damage to negate physical resistance is also quite decent. And Soul Blight obviously debuffing, returning weapon damage as well as armor. Crone's on her raggedy looking horse, and she has taken the Curse Blade for her item, and she has also taken the Gaze of Cain, Heroic Killing Blow, and the Witch Brew. I cut the sort of stack, I guess the timed effect that she has to stay in combat with. Was going to cut Witch Brew because she's on the horse. It's not always great to have her rampaging when she's on the horse, because at 92 speed she can actually be pulled out of position. I'd say Witch Brew's fairly worth it when you take her on foot, because she can't run too far, and as long as you have her supported, you can keep her sort of safe. But on the horse, it can be a bit of a risk. But I guess I was kind of metagaming because I knew Blaque was going to bring Imric. So to start the fight here, we've just got some Dread Spears, taking some shots here. Not too fussed about that, because obviously the Silver Shields is a bit of a waste of the ammo. Scourge Runners coming up to this side. We are rotating over this side with our Sisters of Singing Doom as well, because I do see most of the cavalry over here. But I'm sort of hedging my bets. I still want to be able to maybe rampage Imric, but we see a lot of the shots from the Scourge Runners actually missing there. I don't know what they're firing at there. It looks like they're firing at a dead body, but they might have taken a unit or 2 off. And rotating back now as the front lines begin to meet, because I do see Imric flying overhead. I don't have a lot of missile pressure. No Dark Shards or Dark Rider repeater crossbows. So he's free to sort of come and go at the moment. We are going to get a Spirit Leech down just to sort of make him think twice a little bit. Reavers and the Fireborn coming into the cavalry engagement over here, but I am rotating over with my own Sisters of Singing Doom, who are going to potentially be able to rampage some of these units, particularly the Illyrian Reavers, who do take a bit of damage on the return from the Dread Spears, and we have managed to get the Illyrian Reavers stuck in combat now. We throw down a Soul Blight as well. Actually, no, that's the Dragon Horn, but there's my Soul Blight for some armor debuffs. I was hoping to maybe catch the Fireball in there as well, but they do manage to get away, and now the Executioners are going to go to work. and Gaze of Cain going to come down. Just might as well use that. Don't really need it here. Rangers and Dread Spears, Rangers and Spearmen rather, aren't going to put up much of a fight against Haganeth Executioners, and I'm just holding back with these spears here. So got a bit of a secondary line here to stop the High Elves from just pushing through at will. Crone and the Death Mage just sort of looking for their next engagement. I'm trying to bait Imric down because I want to get in with Imric. I've got the Scourge Runners rotating over to this side. I did sort of sack the Dark Riders out here. They're probably going to get worked down by the Illyrian Reavers, but they might take some damage off. And we're getting some nice shots in now and taking some unit models off the Fireborn. Imric does see Crone coming in, so he will pull out. And likewise, I'm just going to pull back. I'm going to be nice and patient with my Cold One Cav. There's no armor-piercing shots here that can really do a ton of damage. And the Illyrian Reavers getting Rampage and coming back in. I'm just going to get... Gonna obviously finish them off here with the Cold One Cav, and then maybe rotate around to the flank. Blaque going for a big breath attack down there, trying to take some models off the Haganeth Executioners, the Scourge Runner Chariots, as the Haganeth Executioners have actually taken a bit of damage here. They've worked their way through a lot of Spearmen, but probably not really the ideal fight for them. Out on this side, this unit's very healthy and are going to really take out this unit of Spearmen, but the Witch Elves have pushed through onto the Archers, and that's a terrible fight for the Archers. They're going to go down very quickly, and we're starting to get a bit of an overlap now with the Cold One Dread Knights. 1-to-1, that's a decent engagement cost-wise for the Cold One Knights, but Crone Hellebron has come in and she's popped all her buffs, and look at her weapon strength, nearly 1,000, and Imric is really paying the toll, even with the regrowth coming down. Crone's burst damage there just through her Witch Brew and Heroic Killing Blow have shattered Imric, thanks to no small part to the Rampage as well from the Sisters of Singing Doom. And on this side, we're getting a good engagement now as well. The Illyrian Reavers haven't lasted long against the Cold One Knights. The Cold One Dread Knights 1-to-1 against the Fireborn. That's an okay engagement. For price-wise, I guess you'd take it, because this Fireborn are a very expensive unit. But now we're just getting a nice sort of envelope here with Crone coming in. She's going to pick off models with just about every attack. We've got the Scourge Runners messing up the Archers to not provide any Overwatch fire. The Spears are just keeping the Illyrian Reavers busy here and rotating around. And then the Haganeth Executioners were going to come up and around this side. But that is going to be the game. We did, I believe that was an aspect of the Dread Knight. We're trying to just get some terror outs there and finish the game. So that's going to be, I guess, a bit of a meme game. But match 1 against Blaque today. Imric versus Hellebron, our sentimental favourites. A lot of people have been asking me why, are you and Crone still a thing? And yes, I still love a bit of the Crone, but obviously it was hard to go past Morathi, particularly in the last patch with how broken she was. But a nice Haganeth flavoured list here. Sisters of Singing Doom, a couple of units of Executioners, reasonable value on them. These ones obviously still very healthy, and nothing really here apart from maybe the breath attacks from Imric that could really give them too much to think about. These ones killed a lot of Spearmen and Rangers, and still got reasonable value, I guess, but took a bit of a toll from it. But the real winners here, the Scourge Runner Chariots. As I said, really good here because Dragon Princes and the like will lose unit models to their shooting attacks quite quickly. You can usually kill a model every time you land a shot, and then they can follow up, and you saw them sort of hunt down the Archers here. Archers reasonable good value, but they did get hunted a little bit by the Chariots towards the end of the game there and pushed off. Crone got reasonable value. I mean, again, she's very healthy. She buffed a few fights with her Gaze of Cain, and I held her back purposely because I wanted Imric to commit. I wanted Imric to come to the ground where Crone could probably get in and lay a few hits on her. She's got the mobility on the horse to get out if he does turn his attention to her and want to fight her one-on-one. She doesn't have to take that one-on-one, so you just got to be careful with the Witch Brew pops as well that you don't rampage her. But yeah, all in all, a nice list. I think a reasonable list into High Elves. Reasonable as you can when you're not taking Morathi or you're taking anyone else other than Morathi. But the Crone getting the business here in game 1. But in the very next game, Blaque and I queued up again, and we had a rematch. So we're going to see that now. All right, here we are, game 2, and this time it was Blaque once more taking Imric. he did make some tweaks, and he did say to me he is a High Elf exclusive player. And look, as a High Elf enthusiast myself, I don't hate that. But I'm taking the Tomb Kings today. Formerly a very, very good matchup for the High Elves. These days, I think the Tomb Kings actually have some pretty good answers in this matchup. It's not as High Elf favored as it once was. Doesn't feel like it was anyway. So a couple of tweaks to Black's list. A couple of bolt throwers in place of, I believe, the fast cav, the Illyrian Reaver archers, and I think we've got an extra unit of rangers out here. So we've got the Life Mage still just with Earthblood and Regrowth. Same kit on Imric, so similar force. And I think the Silver Helms. There's a unit of Silver Helms and Dragon Princes here. Surprisingly, no Fireborn. Fire damage. Never really a bad thing against the Tomb Kings, but had to make some cuts. Unit of Illyrian Reavers up here, but for my Tomb Kings army, we've gone pretty wide and I guess reasonably mobile despite the lack of chariots. So we've got 2 skeleton horse archers out the front. Really cost-effective skirmish cav. A couple of units of the snakes, one of which is the Eyes of the Desert. Obviously metagaming again a little bit here. I know he's taking Imric. I know he's going to have some cavalry. So these guys, and with Stork as well, can spring a bit of a trap. So we'll see how they go. We've taken obviously the obligatory big front line of skeletons. So skeleton warriors. We've also gone some Tomb Guard because I was anticipating that maybe the Life Mage would be in effect again. So no fire magic, and I thought maybe just give some teeth to my front line. But yeah, spears, skeleton warriors. You know it, you love it. It's how the Tomb Kings play. Back here in it, we have a unit of Necropolis Knights. So I went for the regular variant. I'm not sure if that was because I just couldn't afford the other one, but I wanted just some generalist units because I knew there would be some infantry as well that I might need to work down. But generalist stats here, and alongside Cetra, he can give them an anti-large bonus with the Overcast incantation of Cursed Blades. But we also have a Necrotect here just with Restore and on a Chariot, so some healing for my constructs. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I thought Cetra counted as a construct, and then I was reminded once I got into the game that he doesn't in fact count as a construct up on the War Kitty. So the Restore there unfortunately won't be much good. Wrath of Petra, Incantation of Protection, Incantation of Cursed Blades, and the Lore attribute for Cetra. Pretty stock standard loadout for him. Didn't bother with the blade. Obviously fire damage against the High Elves, not so good because a lot of fire damage on their list. And again, call it metagaming if you want, but yeah, Imric being resistant to fire, didn't think the Blessed Blade would actually do much at all. It'd probably be more of a hindrance than anything. So the bolt thrower is opening up early on. We'll put it on a half-fast play to start with. So I'm going to do the trek up the field. Bolt thrower is not a bad pick here. Can pick off units from construct models to put some pressure on a Sharpie Greatbow and the like, and then sort of make I guess your opponent pay a bit of a micro tax with their lords, whether they go Archon or whether they go Cetra. You can train them on him if you need to, and just make sure that they're paying attention. So some shots from the Sepulchral Stalkers on this side, knocking out a few Illyrian Reavers, and that's the really good thing about this unit. The first volley is often very painful because you can't really dodge the shots. They're too fast. And then the other one over this side is going to do the same thing. They're going to see Imric up in the air and some nice burst damage right off the bat. A couple of hundred damage going down. They may get another volley before he goes out of range. But the fighting's taking place on this side. We do get a counter charge because I do notice these spears aren't braced. So the spearmen are going to take a little bit of damage on the charge, and we're going to bring our Sepulchral Stalkers around this side to try and get some, I guess, Overwatch fire if these Silver Helms or Dragon Princes want to come in. Frontline fighting is going to be a bit of a wash. Spearmen will hold against my infantry. The Tomb Guard will probably be pretty decent, and we're just lobbing some shots in now with the Skeleton Horse Archers. But this is where the Bolt Throwers are a bit of a pain for units like the Sepulchral Stalkers. They take a lot of damage from the single shots, and I'm probably getting a little bit overextended now. I think I might have a attack move on Imric, and I'm just being pulled forward a little bit. So Necropolis Knight's now going to come forward and respond, but again a nice counter charge, and with the Dragonhorn coming down, bit of a whiff on the breath attack, but with the Dragonhorn coming down, the Spearmen are actually going to have some nice melee attack. Does wear off there, and I am able to bring them back and screen out with my front line. But Cetra's getting stuck in, just trying to get I'm not sure what's going on here. He's got an attack order, but just trying to break through one unit of the front line at a time. But this unit of Sepulchral Stalkers really getting a bit of work put into them. Although I do see an opportunity here to get some shots into Imric, but he is taking an Earthblood. The Dragon Princes are doing pretty well against the Necropolis Knights, actually, but the Restore will go down to try and keep them in the fight. Some extra HP on them, and I am just trying to train everything at the moment onto Cetra. Rather Imric, and Cetra is making a beeline. Sorry, I've got a bit of frog in my throat there. So Cetra, I think, does land a hit down on the rear of Imric, and I should be pulling back here with my cav, but obviously there's a lot of stuff to micro. I'm trying to micro some units here through the seams of my opponent's infantry. The Illyrian, or the Silverhelm's rather, back here, just sort of being a bit of a backline sweeper, but there's not a lot of pressure from myself on his backline. And in the front lines, Imric's just doing a bit of work. This unit of Necropolis Knights is doing pretty well, and unfortunately, yeah, just copying massive archer fire, and this is really poor by me. The archers, they have decent range, 140, I mean, that's pretty standard for a bow unit, and there's no need for them to be taking the fire here from the archers. However, I do get the Sharpie summon down, and it is going to force a bit of a withdrawal from the Silverhelms here, but Cetra maybe just getting a little bit overextended here. Imric could potentially drop down, but I see this Life Mage here as a bit of a free pick, and unfortunately he gets knocked down and takes no damage, because that's a thing in this game, and the Necropolis Knights are not long for the world. They are going to go down. Unfortunately, my Skeleton Horse Archers are crumbling too, and an Earthblood is going to get some really, really good value here. Trying to get the Silverhelms to maybe break through a Terror Route if I can do some damage, and then I can chase with my Ushabti. And we are pushing through now with a unit of Tomb Guard here and a unit of Spears. So shields and cheap troops coming through to soak up fire where they need to and pressure the archers and the repeater bolt throwers. This big fight here, I mean, the Necrotech's coming around. I believe he did, I'm not sure if he's used his second restore yet, but I'm fairly sure I do use it on the Sepulchral Stalker RLR. The other one is unfortunately dead. But again, they're getting some good damage on Imric, and a regrowth is going to put him back into the fight, reset his vigor, which is really, really nice for Blaque. And I'm coming around doing a bit of a circuit here with these Skeleton Warriors, but again, we're going to try and get into the cookie jar. Cetra's still really healthy. The Eyes of the Desert, at least there's the restore going down. They do have decent armor, so they can ward off at least some of the small arms shots from the archers. And this unit of archers here has been hounded by the Ushabti, but unfortunately they are probably going to reload. They're going to come back to the fight very quickly now that the Ushabtis have crumbled. Dragon Princes coming out to meet the Eyes of the Desert. They do have charge defense and anti-large, so they can get some hits back here. But I just haven't been able to use enough of their ammo. Every time I've lined up a shot on Imric, Black's been very conscious to pull away because they do have great burst damage. And this flank isn't going too well for me. I do at least have the spears on this bolt throw crew here, but the rangers here will probably make pretty quick work of these spears, and these archers not far from the white line, but they are going to stabilize. Unfortunately, the Necrotect here, like other Tomb King characters, is weak to fire, and Imric is going to make very, very short work of him. I sent him out to the back with these Tomb Guard, and he's trying to get away now, but I actually tried to pull through this unit thinking it was an archer unit, and I am getting stuck up on one of the artillery pieces, which I think he does actually manage. Yeah, well, he's managed to destroy an artillery piece before he dies, but he will indeed die. Once again, trying to, not sure what's happening with Cetra's attack orders here, not even sure what he's attacking. It looks like a lone spearman model, but I did see the mage out here and I thought might be able to get a quick snipe on him, but there's probably not a lot of Winds of Magic left at the moment. And this is still anyone's game. I know that if I can get some damage into Cetra, as we see a big milkshake breath go down, it's going to take maybe a couple, I think it maybe snipe 2 of the Eyes of the Deserts off, but if we can get some damage, we might be able to put some hurt on Imric, force him back. Cetra can maybe come over here and have his way with the Dragon Princes, cause some disruption, get the archers just to pull back. Again, the Tomb Guard here, you know, have ended up being a reasonably good buy because they've just been a bit more resilient. Silver shields, not too concerned with the arrow fire, and we have a little bit of a resurgence. We are trying to keep our forces nicely together, but at this stage, the bolt thrower crews are basically running from their machines, and it's just the archers that can put pressure on him. So I do try and send Cetra out to try and bait Imric to come down, because I know once he comes down, he can't dodge the Eyes of the Desert, and I'm fine with the Dragon Princes coming in here to fight them because, you know, reasonable stats, an anti-large bonus, and some armor piercing will mean that even in combat they can probably do some work, and I do put a incantation of protection down just to save them from the burst damage on the charge. But I'm starting to just sort of get pulled apart. The only thing that's working in my favour at the moment is that we do have Black's forces close to the white line, but Cetra comes out in front again, trying to just bait a little bit of a jump down by Imric. I do overcast Incantation of Cursed Blades to get an anti-large bonus, which unfortunately does miscast and cause me some damage. And I did put the blind in Wrath of Petra down to try and debuff the stats here. As you can see, they are. I think Imric was blinded very briefly, but he's going to have the last laugh. Menaithnir, look at him. He should be happy, but he looks angry. But Imric, sitting up on his Dragonborn throne, is going to take the day. And Blaque will, look at that, look at him. He's just so much better than everyone else, and he knows it. Smug prick. Anyway, Blaque does level our little, I guess, quick battle series here, 1-1 with his boy Imric. Imric got a fair bit of work done, still reasonably healthy, and was benefited greatly from a few good regrowths here. Cetra did some work. He's not that's not got his cost back, but he jumped around, and I was trying to get Imric to overcommit the whole time, bait him into these shots of the Eyes of the Desert, and then let Cetra maybe overcast Cursed Blades and get the anti-large bonus. You don't even actually need to. His dueling stats are pretty good as it is. But yeah, Blaque just very conscious not to let Imric get surrounded, not to let him take too much damage. Every time I got a shot from the Eyes of the Desert, I didn't get much more than one volley off at a time. So nice play. I mean, the bolt throwers did some good work from far. Probably took some models maybe off the Eyes of the Desert, maybe even those Necropolis Knights, and were a bit of a pain. And then frontline held long enough. Imric did what he needed to do, and then obviously Rangers can blend through skeletons for days. 230 skeletons there for the Rangers, and even Spearmen actually. With the Dragonhorn going down, can actually cut through, the chaff here reasonably well. If you time it right, it puts their melee attack up to about mid 40s, high 40s. So yeah, that's obviously no match for skeleton warriors. But the Tomb Guard, they gave me something a little bit more sturdy, but they still didn't get a lot of kills. I was very lax with my Skeleton Horsemen. I shouldn't have been letting them get hit by archers. Both of them, getting really nice damage. They were just chipping little bits of damage off Cetra and the constructs bit by bit. The Necropolis Knights were a total bust. I probably would have been better off just going either with another unit of Sepulchral Stalkers, or just going a bit wider and being able to actually split the High Elf force up and then maybe loop around and get on the archers, or just probably even just a unit of chariots and punch through the front line a little bit quicker. But yeah, I wanted to sort of try and see if the Necrotech could keep them in the fight and they could do some work. They have reasonable stats, I think 41, 40 and poisoned armor piercing attacks. Don't have an anti-large bonus like the other one, but just the generalist stats were kind of what I was going for here. And then if I need to overcast Cursed Blades, I can. But yeah, well played, Blaque. Good little quick battle series if you want. Thanks for the game, and thanks to everyone for checking it out. Till next time, take care.